you were arrested at the G20, but I guess how did it all happen?
Well, from the beginning, I was walking down in full TTC uniform, just down Queen Street, around 101 College. Police blocked off that whole area with their bikes, and there was no riot gear. It was just police officers in uniform. When suddenly it looked like I wasn't going to be able to get to Queen's Park, so I started to walk back to college so that I could call my dispatch center and tell them what was going on. As I was walking back towards college, I was nailed hard onto the ground, so hard that my glasses and my watch broke, and a man was on top of me, wrestling me down, and I was fighting back. And he said, "Stop resisting arrest, stop resisting arrest." And I was like, "Get off me. Like, who are you? Get off me." And another one of his friends joined and held me down. And that's when they identified themselves as police officers. These were guys that were in normal clothing, no police uniform, no police ID, no police number, nothing. It was men in jeans and a work shirt. There was the other cop looked like a homeless person, a big unkempt beard, plaid shirt. And they proceeded to hold me down harder than they needed to for, like, I'm 5'10", 155 pounds at that time. And they used a lot of force to hold me down, cuff my back, cuffed me in the back, and shackled my legs, and dragged me across Queen's Park in front of supervisors and transit constables that were waiting for me. They took me to the grassy area of Queen's Park, put me down, took off my belt, my shoelaces, took all my watch, my glasses, anything metal, anything I could hurt myself or somebody else with, as they were berating me and my job, how they're always the first to help, and now I'm here fucking them and screwing them over and participating in these events. I should know better than to stay clear of this area. And I told her, I actually don't get a choice where I work. TTC tells me where to work. So I can avoid the area.
Mm-hmm.
So they put me in a paddy wagon next to another, put me in a paddy wagon, and I asked through the little holes to the arresting officers. Actually, the arresting officers, to them it was a big joke. They were laughing at it. They were laughing, saying, "Hey, we got a TTC guy. Hey, who wants to take a picture with him? Who wants to take a picture with him?" And it was a joke, and I couldn't believe it. And I got in the paddy wagon, and I asked a police officer. I can't remember which one. I couldn't see which one. Mm-hmm. There's a guy, and I told him, "There's a guy in a white shirt. He's a transit supervisor, or there should be 2 transit constables. Can you grab them and tell them, because I got to tell them I can't go to work."
Right.
Within 5 minutes, they came. He asked me for my badge number, who I am, where I'm supposed to be, and pretty much told the cop, "This guy is an employee of ours. We have a 2-way radio. You can talk directly to our control center, and they can clarify everything." I never heard an answer back, and I figured that, probably 20 minutes or so, I was in the paddy wagon, 15, 20 minutes. They opened the doors and let me out, and I thought everything was fine and I was clear. They put me in a bus with a few others. One of them was a reporter, as well as other people that were bleeding and everything else and bruised up. And the bus started to move about 20 minutes later, and I realized I was not going home for the night, and I was not going to work.
This was a TTC bus, or this was a...
This was a Toronto police bus. It had cells in it and benches in it.
Whoa. And were these officers that you're mentioning that arrested you that were in plain clothes, were you able to ever find out what if they were Toronto police, or do you know what...
I have images of them through YouTube. One of them that berated me the worst was Scary Lady. She's quite popular on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I've got pictures, not pictures, but YouTube footage of the other 2 cops, and it'll be up to the Toronto police to identify. They should have been Toronto officers, though.
So what was it like then when they when they took you to...
We went into Eastern Avenue, and there were cells, and from inside the bus, you can already hear people yelling and screaming. There may have been 10, 15 cells in this one area, and I figured, well, that's a pretty big facility, because the bus literally drove right in. Then they put us in the cell. There was about 30, 35 people in my cell, a few which I still keep in touch with, actually. Another interesting point is that one of the cops was threatening me, saying that my weapon, that I am armed for G20, and I was going to cause harm because I had a metal weapon with me, which was my transfer punch. So the best answer to tell him was, you know what, with this, the best I could do is give you a free ride.
Mm-hmm. Well, now, okay. So this is why your story is very unique, because you're the only person that I've heard of. I've heard of a lot of people that were arrested, detained illegally or with no reason given or for no reason at all. But you're detained on your way to work in uniform, and they were actually like making a joke of this, that you had your uniform and like.
There was two of us actually, and I don't know why they singled me out. But there was two of us, both in uniform, two TTC collectors. We both knew each other. We were friends. We were walking together because he was on a break anyways. Mm-hmm. So he was going to walk me to Queens and then walk back to college because he had 3.5 hours to kill before the next piece of his shift.
He got arrested too, or he?
He got off scot-free. They nailed me left, right, left, center, hard, right to the ground, and he kept on walking.
You've been off work since.
I've been off work since the day it happened. I was released on the 28th, which was the Monday. At first, it didn't seem to affect me. A week or two down the road, suddenly I'm in the subway and I'm crying. I can't figure out why, and I'm having a flashback of events. I'm yelling, I'm screaming, I'm like talking to a person I was in one of the cells with, because I was moved from cell to cell, but he wasn't there. I was just talking to him. So people thought I was absolutely nuts. So that's when I went to see a medical doctor, and he told me, you have post-traumatic syndrome. And he put me on medication at first. He put me on something called clonazepam. It's an anti-anxiety medication. 1 milligram times 3 a day. Today I'm sitting between, depending on the day, 12 to 16 milligrams. 30 milligrams, I'd be in a padded room, in a jacket where I can't move. I cannot take the subway because of the screeching noises, because one of the most stressful factors of the whole event was the noise. And the subway on the track makes the same noise as the riding in the cages, the opening and closing of the cages. Just so many things set off flashbacks.
Spending 35 hours in jail seems like a lot, especially if they're not giving you any reason for it or didn't give you any charge or anything. Did you spend it all in the Eastern Avenue Detention Center?
I spent it between 5 cells, all at Eastern Avenue. It wasn't just I thought it was just the one facility where our bus pulled in, the TPS bus pulled in, and people were getting released. I thought they were getting released. The next day I saw them. It's just a huge detention center. And I was taken to a booking sergeant. He's looking at my hot sheet, which is, I guess, technically my arrest sheet. And he's like, the answer was like, I think you were just wrong place, wrong time, buddy. And I told him, listen, I got 2 dogs at home that haven't been walked and haven't been fed. Like, I need to make a phone call. I need to make arrangements for someone to pick up my dogs.
And were you ever able to make a phone call? I know that when they had the media tour, they had this whole wall of like payphones that looked like that. It looked like one room. Were you able to?
From what I heard from everybody that walked by, phones don't work worth shit.
Oh.
They didn't work. So your other option was to see duty counsel. And duty counsel basically just took a few notes. He told me stuff. He told me outright, I don't know why you're not released. You should have been released at 11. This is Sunday now. You should have been released by 11, he goes. They're keeping you here for a reason. He goes, you may want to start thinking about friends who can pay post-bail, post-bond. He was explaining this procedure to me. I've never been in trouble with the police. I've never even had a speeding ticket. Parking ticket I had too. But I've never been in trouble with the police, and I've always cooperated with the police.
Were there any attempts on the outside? Were people trying to get you out? Did you find out
Yes,
later,
there was actually. The union sent down their lawyers. The lawyers were not permitted at Eastern Avenue. They were not permitted entry. My union steward came down twice, once for an hour, once for 3, to find out, am I in there? What's his condition? How can we get him out? Here's his schedule. He was supposed to be. He went to the division to get my schedule. Mm-hmm. He was supposed to be there. They ignored him and said, sorry, get lost, buddy, more or less. It was very, very arrogance. Mm-hmm. So he thought, you know what? I'm going to come back in uniform. So the second time he came back, John came back. He came back in full TTC uniform. And the police were a lot more polite to him, but told him, different police officers, told him, sorry, we can't let you in right now. I'm going to have to ask you to leave.
How did you just get let out then eventually?
In my final cell, probably around 1 a.m. This would have been Monday morning, 1 a.m. I was already dead tired of sleep. I was a mess. I was fogged. I had no idea what was happening. Gate open. Court officers were there, and I could see their lips move. And they were talking. But I didn't understand. I couldn't hear them. I couldn't comprehend. And then he pointed at me and waved his fingers like, come here, come here, come here. And slowly I came through because I was kind of napping on and off, trying to sleep on hard concrete. I was freezing and I wasn't about to take their idea. The court officer's idea is if you want to keep warm, the best thing to do is sleep inside the porta potty. Because plastic is warmer than cement.
Oh, no.
It was already embarrassing enough in prison during the first cell with my hands behind my back. Mm-hmm. And I had to ask a guy, listen, can you undo my fly and hold on to my junior and help me pee? And there were others that were too embarrassed. And they just wet themselves and made a mess in their pants. And that was all over the floor. So the next day when I saw the news and they were showing cells of G20, I actually laughed. I was like, they cleaned that place up pretty good. It looked kind of messy, but it looked like, the way the police would want the public to see it. This is what it looked like. We don't want to show you the cells, the real cells, where there were injured people with blood and bruises all over the floor and urine on the floor, and guys sleeping in it, walking in it, moving it around with their feet, just by walking. We'll just kind of throw a couple of those little crap bread sandwiches and a bunch of styrofoam cups around.
Well, with all this that's happened, is there anything going on in terms of the legal stuff? That's what I was wondering about. Like what's
in terms of legal stuff, a lot has happened. We're not just talking psychological trauma, pain, and suffering. That's one area. Mm-hmm. Charter of Rights of Canada freedoms was violated mm-hmm. to the extreme during that weekend. Yep. And that'll play a big role in I'm sure in a lot of cases. Mm-hmm. I've spoken to many attorneys. I have quite a few retainers sitting at my desk at home, and it's just a matter of weeding through of who I trust the most.
One of the conspiracies that I'm still trying to figure out in the G20 is who was really running the show. When you're thinking about these lawsuits, like would this be against Toronto police or would this be against the G20? Or
I actually haven't narrowed down who you would blame for martial law, because that's exactly what it was. It was martial law. When you arrest a man going to work in a recognized city uniform with people to vouch for him, and you still arrest him and other people just for walking down the street for no apparent reason, to me that's martial law. So who do you sue for martial law? Who would I be suing against? I honestly, at this point, my lawyers, they're not even 100% sure. There would probably be several people that would be called in. It wouldn't just be Toronto police.
For real. Yeah, thanks a lot, Elroy Yau.